Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava ki jai, Radha Govinda Deva ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamundirayet Nashta Parayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamaśloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschutya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Today we are reading from Śrimad Bhāgavatam, 4th canto, chapter 2. Daksha curses Lord Shiva. Text 21. Please repeat after me. Everybody has phones ready. Thank God we are in the digital era. Everybody has a phone. Otherwise, how will we be able to do it? 21, chapter, second chapter, 4th canto. Got it? 21. 2, 1. 4. Yoeta Martyamudishyam Bhagavatya Pratidruhi Druhyati Agya Paritag Drishtis Tatvato Vimukho Bhavet Yaeta Martyamudishyam Bhagavatya Pratidruhi Druhyati Agya Paritag Drishtis Tatvato Vimukho Bhavet Yaetam Martyamudisha Bhagavatya Pratudruhi Druhyatya Pratyadrishtis Tatvato Vimukho Bhavet. Gentlemen, please chant. Yaetam Martyamudisha Bhagavatya pratidruhi Druhyatya Bridadrishtis Alado Vimukho Bhave Yatamartamudisya Bhagavatya pratidruhi Yatamartamudisya Bhagavatya pratidruhi Druhyatya Bridadrishtis Tatvato Vimukho Bhave. You want to chant, Mother Madhurya? Yadamartamudisya Bhagavadya Mritudri Yadavishtis Tadavimukho Bhave. Translation word for word. Who, Daksha, etat martyam, this body, Uddishya, with reference to Bhagavati, to Shiva, Aparatidruhi, who is not envious, Druhyati, bears envy, Agyaha, less intelligent persons, Pritagdrishti, the vision of duality, Tattvataha, from transcendental knowledge, Vimukha, bereft, Bhavet, may become. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Anyone who has accepted Daksha as the most important personality and neglected Lord Shiva because of envy is less intelligent, and because of visualizing in duality will be bereft of transcendental knowledge. Purport. The first curse by Nandishvara was that anyone supporting Daksha was foolishly identifying himself with the body, and therefore, because Daksha had no transcendental knowledge, supporting him would deprive one of transcendental knowledge. Daksha, Nandishvara, identified himself with the body like other materialistic persons and was trying to derive all kinds of facilities in relationship with the body. He had excessive attachment for the body and in relation to the body with wife, children, home, and other such things, which are different from the soul. Therefore, Nandishvara's curse was that anyone who supported Daksha will be bereft of transcendental knowledge of the soul and thus also be deprived of knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Translation once again. Anyone who has accepted Daksha as the most important personality and neglected Lord Shiva because of envy is less intelligent, and because of visualizing in duality will be bereft of transcendental knowledge. Hare Krishna. I think the mic is a little bit squeaking a little bit. Then just tiny touch. Okay. Here we are, fourth canto, just after the great pastimes of Kapiladev, who is thoroughly explaining very important subject matters. The great relevance of Śrimad Bhāgavatam for us lies in this thorough expounding of the philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita. And in this particular case, after the conclusion of the explanation of devotional service by Kapiladev, now we are seeing examples the perfect examples of Bhakti Yoga, which is performed into the three modes of material nature, starting with Daksha, Daksha's pastime. Does anybody know which mode of material nature is Daksha's devotional service in? I was expecting Dylan to say something, but yes, ignorance, our very well-known mode, very prominent in Kali Yuga. New York is surcharged. You go out, you just turn around, you see a few bumps, smoking crack, and immediately, nice scenery. Very common. But here we see some other propensities, some other qualities emerging from this. And not only the mode of ignorance, but bhakti that is performed in the mode of ignorance, which is sometimes considered like how can bhakti be contaminated? Bhakti is never contaminated. Bhakti is always pure, but because the practitioner is under the modes, so therefore bhakti becomes manifested in different ways. Apparently, in the Śrimad Bhāgavatam, chapter Canto 3, 29th verse 8, 29th chapter 8 verse, Kapiladev is explaining this phenomena. Abhyasandhyayo himsam dambam matsaram evava sarambi binadrik bhavam maikriyatsa tamasaha. Devotional service executed by a person who is envious, proud, violent, and angry, and who is a separatist, is considered to be in the mode of darkness. So, the mode of darkness or tamas is dough-like matter. It makes our heart become like a rock. And in this way, when we identify with, when we are influenced by this mode, we actually are most conditioned, and we identify the body as the real self. Somebody who thinking that I am this body, exactly the opposite of self-realization. And this actually brings very devastating consequences. We can see in our society, we have many examples. Some of the most atrocious are, for example, if you see the wars, the Second World War, First World War, this is a sheer example of what it means to identify with the body and try to lord it over material nature by being envious, because identification with the material body is nothing else but envy. When we think that this is the real self, therefore we think that we are the enjoyers. And we're not just the enjoyers, but the supreme enjoyers. And everybody around us is our servant, because we are God. Therefore, for example, the establishment of the Bolshevik Revolution, when the communistic movement was established in Russia, all the intelligent people, all the capable people were basically decimated completely by the revolutionists, because they wanted to establish their agenda, which is completely hedonistic, completely atheistic. So they just wanted to have dull people who were following orders. They didn't want people to question, why? Why do I have to follow? What is this? Is there supreme? Is there God? Is there spirit? So therefore, they order that everybody who is a little bit more capable of thinking, like the intelligentsia, the Brahminical order, those who were teaching, those who had a little bit of similar contribution to society were killed or put into the Gulag, which was the famous concentration camps. And then afterwards, the outcome was completely bad. The people were ruled by these very envious people, and in fear, everybody was following this agenda, and nobody was happy. On the other side, in Europe, Hitler was killing also. Genocide was enacted, and this is the reaction of somebody. This is the outcome when you have great demons who are identifying with the body and are enacting their pastimes born out of anger and envy. And this influence that is there in the material nature, it can happen to anybody, and we have a proof in our lives, because many times we also have fallen under the prey of the material modes of tamas, because the modes are always fluctuating. They are intertwining, playing around. One is trying to get, how do you say? Every mode is trying to get dominance over the others, and they are constantly mixing themselves. And it's just a matter of time that Tamagun will influence anybody, even the devotees. But of course, the devotees, they're not that much influenced, because they're practicing transcendental devotional service. They're constantly bathing in the listening of the Bhagavad Gita, of Śrimad Bhāgavatam, chanting 6 hours every day or 4 hours outside and speaking to the people. All these activities, they're actually elevating us to Sattva Gun, but not just Sattva Gun, even beyond. So this is our saving grace. Nevertheless, because material nature is so unstable, and because the conditioned living entity is nitya baddha, means it's full with imperfections, and it's always inclined to fall down, will be influenced at some point by the material mode of tamas, to a certain degree, to a lesser or a bigger extent, depending on every individual case. And if somebody is predominantly in the state of tamas, just like here we see how Daksha was very envious of Shiva, who is a very exalted personality. He offended him, and he made a great chaos because of this act born out of anger, born out of matsarya, of enviousness. So Kapiladev, he explains in that verse that I chanted before, 329.8, that devotees who are also in their beginner stage, maybe some of them will be influenced in the same manner. They are to be respected as devotees because they are already transcendental in their endeavors, but because they're still predominated by the lower modes, like Tamogun in this particular case, and Rajugun in many cases, most of the cases. But those devotees are to be careful to associate with. We have to pick up our company even among devotees, even in ISKCON. ISKCON, International Society of Krishna Consciousness, where we're practicing pure devotional service, also doesn't mean that everybody will be completely saintly. Everybody is on the path, everybody is following the process, and it's just a matter of time that everybody will become a pure devotee, completely unalloyed devotional service. But nevertheless, it's a great school. So in the school, you have all types of personalities, just like when we were going to school, you have the clown, you have the beauty queen, you have the bully, you have the nerd, and so forth. So we have to understand and broaden our mind and understand that also in ISKCON we have all kinds of varieties of devotees, and we have to pick up carefully. We have to associate with those who are nourishing us, who are giving us good example, who are giving us good direction. And we have to avoid the association of those who are acting sometimes, violently, out of anger, um, enviousness, and so forth, because those qualities will affect us, will affect our consciousness, and they will bewilder us. And at the same time, like I was explaining, um, every devotee will be affected at one point by tamas. So even though sometimes our leaders, those who are guiding us already, maybe we have already found good company, even they can be influenced, even they can fall prey to these lower qualities and modes. Still, we have to understand that they're properly situated, and this is just a small, very small mistake on their part. After all, in Kali Yuga, which is an ocean full of mistakes, everybody will commit a mistake. We see how even Parikshit, even he was exposed to the modes in that particular in that particular moment, and he committed mistake. And of course, we know that's an arrangement of Krishna, but it's also um, an example for us what could happen, and it's a great lesson for us to be broad-minded and be forgiving, especially with our closer circle. Nobody is perfect. Everybody will commit a mistake. Because of that, doesn't mean that okay, he's no longer, he cannot guide me anymore because he acted out of envy or he became a little bit angry. No, we continue to have faith, and we have this understanding that it's not a big problem. Everybody will make mistakes. Only Krishna is achyuta. Nobody else is achyuta. And the devotee, he is bhava grahi janardana. Even when we're looking at somebody who is still heavily influenced by the material modes, by tamas, still we have to look only for the good in that person. We have to encourage him, and we have to give him guidance. We have to try to fan the spark, as Vaisheshika Prabhu says in his lectures. Find a little bit of spark that is lying there, a little bit of a talent, a little bit of small inclination that there is for service of Krishna, and just try to encourage. Do this, do a little bit more, do some books, do a little bit of cleaning, deity worship, whatever it is. And we have to um, um, put aside all of his disqualifications, all of his shortcomings. Why? Because he's properly situated. We shouldn't be criticizing and looking down upon him, because just now coming, very, very quickly, he will come to the saintly platform. And with this mentality, we will actually be able to understand more and more the mercy of Radha Govinda, the mercy of Mahaprabhu, because that is why he came here. He came to give this knowledge, this purification process to the most fallen. What is the only qualification to partake in the mission of Mahaprabhu? The only qualification is to be completely unqualified. So in this way, we apply this mentality even outside in the people that we see. when they're acting out of ignorance, even other religionists like Christians, Muslims, even they are on the path. Even they will eventually come to bhakti, to pure devotional service, if they're diligent in their practice. And who knows, very quickly, one lifetime, two lifetimes, what are a couple of lifetimes in the face of eternity? So, Bhavagrahi Janardana, Krishna, he's always looking for the small attempt, the person who came to the Harinam who had nothing to do with it, but maybe tried to help Bhaktarayan to collect his pamphlets that fell on the ground. Krishna always will be like, oh, look at him, he's helping my devotee. He's helping my swan-like devotee. Let me make an arrangement that he comes closer to me. That's what Krishna is doing. He is always looking forward to make 10 steps towards the devotee when the devotee is making one small step, even by mistake. Krishna is so magnanimous, so we follow. And the separatist devotee, he is known as Binadrik, the devotee who is influenced by the Tamogun. Binadrik means that one is having a different kind of idea of what is supposed to happen, what is supposed to be the outcome of my devotional service. Usually, for a person who is very proud, who is very angry and envious, it's very difficult to instruct him, and it's because he is following his own agenda. That's what a separatist means. So until the time we become completely purified, there will be always some element of tamas in our heart, actually. Even though one can be, Brahminical, born in a Brahmana family, or, he just cultivated sattva gun all of his lifestyle, all of his lifetime, still, even sattva gun is a little bit contaminated. Sattva gun is never pure. The gunas are always contaminated, and they're always, trying to take dominance, like I was saying. So the only saving grace is to propel ourselves in Vishuddha Sattva, into the Vasudeva platform. That's why Prabhupada, he very often used this phrase that Sattva gun, Varnashrama Dharma, which is helping us to establish ourselves into Sattva, is a stepping stone for spiritual realization. So it's just a device for us to go beyond. But it's never for us to remain there, because even in Sattva gun, one will sooner or later become proud. And when pride arises, what was the saying by the pride cometh before the fall? Yes. And when the pride comes, fall down comes immediately. Purna Mushika Bala, again mouse. One who, the pastime where the mouse became tiger, and then again, when it tries to come back and eat the yogi said, okay, come back again, become mouse. And in this way, our heart will become contaminated again by tamogun. So until that time, there will be some element of tamas, which will make us separatists to a lesser or a greater degree. The path of bhakti is laid down by the acharyas and by Srila Prabhupada, who gave us everything. All these books and his personal example, and lectures, letters. And our seniors who have reached very advanced level of purity. So we have to understand that the direction of devotional life comes from this tattva, from the Guru tattva. And we have to constantly be checking ourselves from cultivating this separatist mentality, where we're finding ourselves, let me do this activity, instead of following what is already there, what is already set up by our guides, by the acharyas. If we don't come to this conclusion, we will always be having this tendency to fall in, prey into tamogun, into separating ourselves from the greater agenda, which is the agenda of the Guru Parampara. And oftentimes Krishna will test us to see how surrendered we are, because surrender doesn't mean that you just join the temple and that's it. And you take initiation, you're surrendered, done. No, Krishna will always be sending us people and situations, obstacles, which will be testing us to see, are we still clinging to our own agenda? Are we still thinking that we know best? That whatever I have come up with my mind will actually be for my good and for the greater good of others? No, actually, the greater good always comes from the guidance and the instruction of the other Vaishnavas who are more elevated than us. And Krishna, so he will arrange situations where we have to be, we will have to put away our comfort, where we have to put our personal aspirations for the sake of serving a devotee or helping the mission in some way. Srila Prabhupada said, this is the Nectar of Instruction introduction, that the outcome of this movement will be determined by the attitude of the follower. Because bhakti means gradual surrender of what? What are we surrendering? The body? Is our body ours? Our body is not ours. What is ours? Our possessions, the money, our parents, our family, everything will go. What about our talents, our qualities? Can those be taken away? No? Are you sure? Even those will be taken away, everything. When one leaves the body, everything is left behind. Sarvasya chaham hridhi sannivishto. From me comes remembrance and forgetfulness. We can forget everything. One can become cockroach in his next life. What was the use of your talent of playing mridanga? You cannot play mridanga as a cockroach. So, so what is the only thing that is ours? The only thing that is ours, what is there? What has Krishna given us that nobody can take? Anybody knows? Not about our consciousness. Our free will, yes. Krishna cannot take us our free will. It's ours, the only thing. So bhakti means we have to surrender our free will. It's a gradual process, nobody can force you. Because if somebody is trying to force you, then he's in tamogun. Because he's envious and angry, maybe. Nobody can force you. So Krishna is canvassing. Prabhupada says Krishna is making all kinds of arrangements. He's very, very smart. He is the smartest. The intelligence of the intelligent. So Krishna will make all these arrangements and he will test us again and again. Okay, you're a Das? Are you sure? Devi Dasi? Okay, surrender. Are you willing to say, no, oh, no, I have to do something. Oh no, I have my own devotional service. You sure? Is this pure bhakti? So again and again, we have to continue reminding ourselves and meditating on these pastimes, which will give us complete clarity of what we're supposed to do. Because we'll forget again tomorrow. Tamas will come. Tamas will cover our consciousness when we sleep. That's why, sleep is not the best thing to do. Although it has its place, we have to take rest, but ultimately we have to reduce it as much as possible. And even further, we have to continue trying to reduce it. Prabhupada, he wasn't sleeping much. Some say that he wasn't even sleeping. He was just resting his eyes for a couple of hours a day. Just here and there, just closing his eyes, letting the body rest. Because everything that is regulated in devotional life means it has to be reduced to zero. Sex life is regulated, sleep is regulated, food is regulated. So imagine, the Goswamis, they were just drinking 1 cup of of milk. And Ryan really likes these kind of austerities. I've seen him, he's a yogi. So yes, we have to reduce gradually all these propensities to lord it over material nature, to eat, to sleep, because we have to expand our devotional service and do more and more and more. So this is what I wanted to share with you, dear devotees. There were a couple more things, but I think I spoke enough. So if somebody wants to share something or ask a question or comment, open it up for discussion. Krishna Kripa Prabhu.
And then the qualification, actually, the realize the kind of
Yeah, good point. So if we think we're qualified, we will be, it's because we are identifying with the body and we're thinking that, ahamkara, I'm the car, and I know because I am the supreme. And how can you put something, he's already full of it. How can you add something into it? So this is the great misfortune of false pride, that you cannot tell him anything. He's already there. He reached the destination. So, and it's there in our heart. It comes up. It will come up again and again. For some people to a lesser degree, for some people to a bigger degree. Some people are just so bewildered. You can't. It comes out of the corner. You can smell the false ego is so thick. You can smell it. There's a particular flavor that goes with it. And people avoid him. That's how it goes. But yeah, material nature will smash us. This is what Maya is waiting. She's like, this her favorite individuals, those guys who are very proud. So she has the two potencies. What was the two features of Maya? Avaranatmika and what was the other one? Prakashanatmika or something. First, she will alert you. She will tell you, come here, little one, come enjoy. And then when we get alert, we will go, and then she will drag us down and beat us up like anything. First covering, puts you the um, plastic bag on your face, then drag you down, and then beat you up in the corner. There's enough for everybody. Unlimited suffering. Sitaram.
I was thinking about the point that you made about the person playing who can play with advertising and lose that ability. And then I was thinking Srila Prabhupada said that Einstein, he's not just a brain because he was facilitated and he facilitated so many innovation and invention. And he said, Srila Prabhupada said it was the brain, they could have made brain. It's not really the brain, it is the consciousness. It is the soul. It's something that is you are empowered with. And also in devotional life, if someone may have excel in devotional life, they may have the Paramana Shwasti, they continue. And the fine arts, Srila Prabhupada was saying many times that the fine arts like the harmonical culture, like good learning and ability to play the Matanga or the harmonium, or excel in some devotional art like painting and so many different refined Brahmanical values. These, you do not lose these values immediately. You have to really fall down in an extreme way. Usually, inculcate these vibes and these values in such a way that they uplift you, and in your next birth, you continue to excel in that dimension. overcome by these type of condition whereby you immediately lose that ability. So am I thinking in the right way, or could you help me? Am I thinking in the right dimension?
Yes, yes, it's true. You can see so many uh, devotees, especially from devotee families, they just pick up all these talents and they're naturally so wise because they're resuming. By the grace of Krishna, they're remembering, their talents are there. Even if they might not be devotees of Krishna, we can see like prodigies, like Mozart. Mozart, by the time he was 5, he was already a genius. He was playing these symphonies, and everybody was like, "What the heck?" And this is only because he has accumulated skills in his previous lives, and he's resuming. But nevertheless, even that can be taken away because if one becomes, especially in cases where one becomes an offender of the devotees, oh my God, that is the only thing that destroys bhakti. So who's going to save you then? Yeah, your spiritual account is frozen, but it's frozen when you commit offenses. But actually, Vaishnava Parala destroys bhakti. It's not just freezing it; it's destroying it. So if we have a sensual fall down, which will happen to almost everybody, Prabhupada, he was very tolerant with devotees who have weakness of heart and so forth, which is mostly resulting into seva aparada. So seva aparada is easily forgiven by chanting the holy names, by serving, everything becomes nullified. But if one commits offenses at the lotus feet of Vaishnavas, that is the only thing that can destroy all of your bhakti credit, and it can take away all of your talents and all auspiciousness in your life. And you can go straight to hell. So we have to be very careful in our dealings with the Vaishnavas, especially in a subtle way, because many times we are committing offenses unknowingly. Just like there is the famous pastime where Rupa Goswami was absorbed into Krishna Lila, and he was exhibiting these ecstatic symptoms and laughing and just all kinds of strange, emotions, which are transcendental ecstasy. And there was this Brahmana passing by, and he thought that he was laughing at him because he was crippled, and he became offended. Although Rupa Goswami wasn't even near being intentionally offending him. But his ecstasy became immediately interrupted because of that, and he had to organize a transcendental gathering for all the village. And then he saw the only person who didn't come. He figured out, okay, I offended him. So he went there and he apologized. So that's the only antidote for our stupidity, for our pride, to develop this attitude of service and apologize. Sometimes we have to apologize even when we don't commit offense. It's always good to practice this mentality, just in case, and it's good. Yeah, it's good, Prabhu, sorry, did I say something? Please forgive me. Can I do some service for you? And not just apologize verbally, but we have to do something for the person, because if we don't show that we are actually sorry, if we don't serve the devotee, we are actually might not be factually sorry, partially maybe. So say it, request for forgiveness, but also we have to act upon. So it's always The words are always accompanied by the right action. And this is because otherwise we will lose everything. Hatimata. It's called the mad elephant offense. Yeah. And in our dealings with the devotees, we have to be very careful. So, awe and reverence, especially to our seniors. Awe and reverence, always. Even if they're joking with us, even if they're being very, familiar, still we have to be really careful in those dealings because um, we can sabotage our own devotional service. And but sensual fall down, no problem, freezes everything. After a couple of years, comes back, resumes where he is, no problem. Mridanga's skill is still there, everything is there. Connor? Yes. Very nice observation. That's why surrender is never something that we figure out, that we come to a conclusion. You can see even so many senior devotees and advanced Vaishnavas, gurus, even they seek for advice, even they seek for guidance from their god brothers, and many times even from their juniors, just to test, to check yourself again, I did this thing, am I doing something? Am I doing wrong? I might be bewildered. My intelligence can be bewildered. Let me check. The Vaishnava actually is always putting himself in a dependent position. Vaishnava is always in a community of Vaishnavas, and he's always trying to depend on others, because actually this is the most beautiful and the most liberating thing that there is, to be dependent, because that is our original position. So gradually we cultivate this mentality, and it all comes from our guides, from our senior guides, and so forth. It's already 903. I think we can end it up here. Thank you so much for listening, for participating. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Radha Govinda's devotees ki jai. Gaura Prema. Anshka. Thank you so much. Yeah. Oh,
Pardon, may I know your name, please?
Matanga Das.
Matanga Dasa. Yeah, I remember you went to my house. Yes, I remember. Thank you. Nice to meet you.